Yeah, the starter house. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, so I recently started analyzing the starter house and the choices that were made building it, and I thought I'd make it into a video to share my thoughts and concerns about it because I don't know, this is just speculation. I want to really point that out. This is speculation, so don't take any of this as being the real thing. This is just me thinking about the starter house. So, first of all, the colors and the materials. So, what I think about the colors and the materials is that I don't think anyone especially loves the yellow and the green combo. Like, I don't think anyone joins Bloxburg and is like, that is exactly the color palette that I wanted to use on my build, and that are exactly the materials that I wanted to use on this build. Now, however, since these are very bright and in your face, I think that's also counting towards wanting to change it. And I think that's where the colors come in. So seeing this, that is not a combination that anyone would probably love. I'm sorry, Coeptus, if I'm like stepping on your heart right now. But it also forces people to actually find out that there is a build mode and that you can actually build in this game to change that and actually paint that. And the materials as well, I think they really wanted to show that you can add different materials to different colors and make different combinations so that if you place one material, you are not stuck to having, for example, green on tiles. And going inside, you can see that being pushed through with different colors throughout the house. And I think that's kind of the reason that they chose these colors. But also keep in mind, this house was made, I think, in 2017 or 2016. So back then, these were the color choices that people made. And a lot has actually changed, but these were also the color choices that people would make building a house. And not only the colors, but I do think some things were placed intentionally in a weird way so that players would feel forced to actually buy or replace something in build mode. For example, you have this table right here, which is kind of weirdly angled towards the window. Like it only has 3 spaces to sit. A lot of players, including me, wanted to move that table and place it in the middle and add a chair to it. And I think that also contributed to like having that table or moving that table and actually doing something new with it. Also, the carpet is in a weird position compared to the table. The lamp is not in the middle of the table. Those are like early things that people want to change and actually get rid of. And I think that is kind of forcing players into redoing their house as well. Now, another thing that I actually find funny is with the withering, when you had this flower and withering was still a thing. Unlike full-grown flowers, that flower would be the first thing you realize is withering. And like you would realize that placing flowers actually requires water. I think that was a nice addition as well. But also the fruit bowl, like how you can now take fruit out of the fruit bowl. You weren't able to do that back in the day. But I do think some of these small things in Bloxburg contributed to people actually wanting to change the house up a bit. For example, this curtain coming through and stuff like that. I think some of these things might have been intentional. And maybe the main example of this is this pizza box right here. Why would you want a dirty pizza box in your house? And why would that be an extra cost to the starter house, which already has to be as cheap as you can or as cheap as possible, and yet you still choose to add a pizza box. Now, fun fact, you can actually now take a pizza slice out of the pizza box, which is quite funny. You can use the pizza box, so you can open and close it now, but you weren't able to do that back in the day. So the pizza slice that is actually a fun addition. You can now eat pizza slices from the pizza box, but back in the day it didn't have any use. So I think that was intentionally added, not to add extra decoration, but to actually force people to find that there is a build mode and that there is a remove button and that you can actually get rid of the pizza box like that. I'm not gonna get rid of that because I want to keep it as cool as possible. And so I think it's just some random stuff adding to the customizability of the game and introducing you to the customizability of the game. For example, the decal right here, clicking that would allow you to change that. And there's just so many things in this house that I think were intentionally done for players to actually go around and find things about the game. For example, the light switch is something that a lot of players forget, but this house is very great for starters because it basically has a lot of stuff built in already that make you feel more familiar with Bloxburg. And then going back to the actual paint colors, as you can see, a lot of materials and different paints or colors were used inside the house. And I think that's also like a clear indication of, yes, you can paint whatever wall you like and whatever color you like without being limited to painting an entire room like in most Roblox games. And this is what makes Bloxburg different from other Roblox games or other roleplay games or building games. This has a lot more customizability, and this house actually screams that. Like, for example, the closet in the bright blue color, and then this wall in the bright blue color, and the bed in the different stripes and stuff like that. They definitely went all out with the materials and the color choices, but I do think that was kind of intentional for this house. And you actually see that return in other pre-built houses that were made by Coeptus. For example, this Bloxington mansion clearly shows that you can make custom floors if you just try hard enough and find it in build mode. The different colors of flowers, so each flower has a different color. I think that's also like a clear indication of, look, you can actually change the color of one single item into different colors and make it look better that way. And that clearly shows on the inside as well, because they did use a lot of different colors and materials. And this hallway is basically just a flex of, look, we also have different decorations, and you can place different types of decorations on the same type of table. So you're not limited to one table with one sort of decoration on top of that. And I think that's just clearly showing what you can do in the game. Now, of course, this is very dated, but I feel like if there were to come new starter houses, they would still have color and material choices that might look questionable, but just to force players to see that there is actually a build mode that you can enter, I think that was one of the main reasons as to why that was created. But I could be completely wrong here. Again, this is me speculating, and this is me thinking about why certain choices were made, but again, these houses were made in 2016 or maybe earlier, and that was how people built. And changing the color on a bunch of flowers was also a thing people did because there wasn't that much customizability as there is right now, and that was one of the only things that you could really bring customizability in. So I could be wrong here, but this is me speculating about all of these houses. And you know, I was editing this, and since we're analyzing anyways, I just want to say that the more I look at this $200,000 mansion, the more I'm like a little bit triggered that this is still being sold to new players for $200,000, as it does not represent Bloxburg in its current state. And that kind of triggers me in a way, because it used to reflect what you can do in Bloxburg and like the limits of it, and painting every different type of thing in a different material and color. And now with the lighting update and everything, the house is just so dark and you can barely see anything in it. And buying that for $200,000, especially if your job level is very, very low, that takes a long time. And then you get this for $200,000, that's kind of like a big bummer, and you cannot refund it. And if you sell it, you only get like $100,000 for it or something. So that's kind of money in the trash, isn't it? Now, if you have any more things that you want to mention about the starter house or other pre-built houses, and why you think some certain changes were made or choices were made, let me know in the comments down below. It is just nice to think about why certain choices were made and get into the mind of the creators of this game, or the creator of this game. So anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. As I said, I just like to think about or analyze why certain stuff happened and why certain choices were made. So this video was pure speculation. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, and please subscribe.